Right now, you do have to come with us, and I do have to put you in handcuffs, so turn around for me.
You have to put him in handcuffs?
I know.
Yeah, if we have any time with transport, somebody in community custody.
You know we're gonna win this. It's okay.
In true crime, we tell these stories with the hope that justice will be served. We trust that the system is meant to protect the innocent and hold the guilty accountable. But what happens when that trust is broken? When accountability feels conditional, determined not by the severity of the crime, but by the name, a family's influence, or power in a small town? What happens when an alleged predator walks free, while the victims, the one who survived unimaginable trauma, are left to carry the scars for the rest of their lives? That's what we are talking about today. A case out of Stillwater, Oklahoma is grabbing national attention and sparking outrage. An 18-year-old, once facing a possible 78-year sentence for his actions against two high school girls, is now walking free, facing what many describe as little to no consequences. Today, I will break down how that happened, why this case has shocked so many, why we're talking about it, and what it reveals about the system that's supposed to deliver justice. I'm Lauren Matthias, and this is Hidden True Crime, where we explore the hidden motives behind some of the most unimaginable crimes. Before we dive in, a quick trigger warning. This episode includes sexual assault and domestic violence, and some details may be difficult or triggering to hear. Today's story brings us to Stillwater, Oklahoma, a small college town known for Oklahoma State University, high school athletics, and tight-knit communities. But behind the familiar streets and school halls, a horrifying series of events unfolded at Stillwater High School that would shake the town and expose serious cracks in a system meant to protect young people. This case is about Jesse Mack Butler, an 18-year-old high school student, the son of a prominent local figure in athletics, and the series of assaults he committed against multiple female classmates. The story isn't easy to hear, but it's important. It's about the victims, the decisions of adults, and the consequences of privilege in a small town. Jesse Mack Butler was 17 years old when the events that led to his charges began. He came from a family well known in the community. His father, Mack Butler, was a former director of operations for the Oklahoma State University football program, later working as the assistant athletic director for the Stillwater Public Schools District. In a town where athletics carry immense influence, this was a name everyone knew. At first glance, Jesse seemed like any other high school student, charming, athletic, well-liked, and connected. But behind that facade was a series of predatory behaviors that would impact multiple girls at his school. The first victim we'll discuss is referred to as LS in court documents. And according to her mother, LS began talking to Jesse in January of 2024, just after experiencing her first heartbreak. Jesse appeared at the perfect moment, presenting himself as the ideal boyfriend, respectful, fun, attentive, and involved in community activities like church and Bible study. In a Facebook post, LS's mother wrote, quote, "He walked into our home, looked us in the eyes, shook our hands, and came across as a respectful boy that we felt safe letting our daughter spend time with. He picked her up and took her to Bible studies. We had no idea the pure hell that she would face in the months ahead." Shortly after they started dating, Jesse became more and more aggressive with LS. She hid it from everyone due to the threats that she received from him, threats of more abuse, threats of even life-ending consequences, not just for her, but for her brothers and family. All of this was hidden until LS abruptly broke it off after finding out he cheated. She admitted she had wanted to break up for a while, but this finally gave her a reason she needed, end quote. In September 2024, LS learned from a friend at church that another girl Jesse had been dating reported abuse. They met, they compared experiences, realizing the horrors they experienced were strikingly similar. Multiple incidents of assault and battery, sexual battery, and strangulation until unconscious. Together, they went to the school counselor then to the school resource officer, who eventually filed an official report. On September 20th, LS was forensically interviewed. In her forensic interview, she shared multiple events of being assaulted by Jesse, the first one being on February 2nd, 2024. And while I will be redacting some of the more graphic parts of the affidavit, I will read some of it, most of it here. It reads in part, quote, February 2nd, 2024, Butler parked his vehicle on the north side of Marble Slab Creamery, 229 South Knob Block, following an OSU home wrestling duel that they attended together. Instead of getting ice cream, which is what he initially told LS that they were going to do, he forcibly removed her clothing, aggressively pinned her down, sat on top of her, touched her, bit her, and did other redacted assaults against her will. Butler also attempted to have intercourse with her in the vehicle. LS reported that she yelled and told him no repeatedly, again and again, and tried to push him off of her, but was unable to overpower him. LS reported Butler told her that he was sorry for what he was about to do, but he had to do it. That line, pausing really quickly, that line is chilling. Let me repeat that. Butler told her he was sorry for what he was about to do to her, but he had to do it. I'll keep going. LS recalled hyperventilating because Butler intended to have intercourse with her, and she did not want to. Before Butler could continue with the assault, an unidentified woman walked up to the vehicle and interrupted him. And LS believed that this happened because the woman heard her yelling, heard her crying, heard her saying no from outside of the vehicle. LS detailed how this event derailed his plan to continue to assault her. After this occurred, Butler drove away from the area, told LS to stay down, and warned her if the police came that they would both be in trouble. Butler returned to his home where LS's vehicle was located. And once there, they remained in Butler's pickup, where he tried again to have intercourse with LS. LS told Butler she needed to get home, but Butler pulled her on top of him and told her, quote, "You're not going anywhere until I'm finished." Butler moved LS's body back and forth on top of his with their clothing on. Butler told LS, quote, "I want to have sex with you," end quote. But she refused and said she did not want to. LS was able to get out of Butler's vehicle and get into her own vehicle to leave. Butler got into LS's vehicle with her and continued to try to get her to have sex with him. LS described Butler putting his hands all over her, specifically between her legs, on her chest, and then he grabbed her by the neck. LS stated Butler also often pulled her hair during these incidents. I'm going to call them assaults, but in this affidavit's incidents. LS reported that Butler did eventually get out of her vehicle and was able to go home, end quote. Incident 2, quote, early February 2024, Butler and LS were parked outside Planet Fitness, 805 East Virginia Avenue, inside LS's vehicle, the victim's vehicle. So in the victim's vehicle here. And Butler exposed himself to her and told her to perform redacted on him. LS refused by saying no and that she wanted to go home. Butler then forced her by grabbing the back of her head and her hair and forcing her to do this. LS began crying when he did this. She was crying, and while this was occurring, Butler's mother called. Butler told LS to be quiet, not to say anything, or else what would he do? He would hurt her if she said anything while he talked to his mom. He would hurt her. So he threatened her during the assault. And following the phone call, LS stated that she complied with Butler out of fear of what he would do to her if she did not follow his orders. LS did what Butler ordered her to do, and after this occurred, Butler exited her vehicle and they both left the parking lot. End quote. Incident 3. Quote, early February, prior to February 14th, 2024, Butler and LS were at Butler's family home in an upstairs movie room in Butler's home when Butler pinned LS down on the couch by sitting on top of her. He forcefully removed her clothing despite her objection. He touched her body as she cried and asked him to stop, This incident ended. When did it end? As Butler was attempting to take his underwear off to try to have sex with her. LS knew Butler intended to have sex with her because he made statements like, "I want to be inside of you." Butler's mother came to the door at this moment and inquired if everything was okay. And LS believed that this was because she heard LS crying and saying no after this occurred. Can you imagine, by the way, I'm just going to pause here, being a mother in your own home from a movie room that you have upstairs and hearing a girl that your son is dating crying, saying no repeatedly. And so then you knock to see if everything's okay, but that's it. You just are like, "Hey, is everything good in there?" I don't know. I'll keep reading, but here we go. So LS believes that the mother knocked because she heard LS crying and saying no after this occurred. Butler and LS left Butler's residence to take her home. And when Butler took LS home, he parked in the vicinity of LS's home, but he refused to take her to her house. So park nearby, but not to her house. Pulls over. Butler forced LS to remain in his vehicle with him for a period of approximately 2 hours and told her that she could not leave until she did what he wanted her to do. Given Butler's previous aggressive behavior with her and his ability to overpower her, LS was scared to try to exit the vehicle. And inside the vehicle, Butler grabbed LS. He attempted to assault her, but she refused and resisted. He grabbed her hand and forced it. LS was able to exit Butler's vehicle after threatening to call her mother if he did not let her go. And again, this incident lasted 2 hours, his refusing to take her home. And she was finally then able to exit. And when she did finally exit, Butler also exited and followed LS into her residence, where he continued with unwanted sexual advances. LS reported that Butler eventually left her residence after receiving a text from his sister to come home. End quote. Incident 4, quote, February 2024. LS and Butler were parked in her vehicle at 717 East Hall of Fame, the Hampton Inn and Suites parking lot behind Raising Cane's Chicken Fingers at 317 North Perkins Road. And then Butler instructed LS to get in the back seat with one of the seats laid down, and he removed her pants and underwear against her will. LS verbalized she did not want him to touch her, but he digitally assaulted her. And LS told Butler to stop and that he was hurting her badly. LS reported that Butler told her he was not going to stop until redacted, which he then did to her. LS moved around and tried to get him to stop, but he refused, and she was scared of him and could not overpower him. When LS got home afterward and went to the bathroom, she was bleeding. End quote. Incident 5. Quote, February 2024, LS reported multiple incidents where Butler fingered her against her will while in their vehicles in the Brahms parking lot. On one occasion, LS's sibling was with them, and Butler, what did Butler do? Oh, he sent the sibling inside with a debit card to get something to eat so that he could touch LS. I'll say assault LS. She reportedly bled from her vagina on this occasion as well. So another time. Incident 6, quote, on or about February 29th, 2024, Ellis reported that she was strangled to the point of unconsciousness by Jesse Butler. This occurred inside her vehicle in the Walmart parking lot. Ellis reported Butler strangled her after she would not participate in sexual acts with him. So I'm pausing really quickly. Imagine that. These threats that she had been having, how real they were. That he would say that I will hurt you if you do not do this, if you do not participate. In this moment, she did not participate and would not. And what did he do? He strangled her to unconsciousness. So the threats we now know are real. I'll keep going. So this happened. Butler strangled her after she would not participate in sexual acts with him. And prior to strangling her, Butler had touched her breasts and other parts of her body under and over her clothing. He pinned her down inside her vehicle and straddled her with one hand on her neck and another hand pinning her hands down over her head. LS was scared and crying. She told Butler no, but he did not listen. Ellis reported that she was hyperventilating and then recalled her vision being blurry and she was dizzy. She reported her head immediately hurt and she was confused about what occurred. She was scared of Butler, but when she regained consciousness, Butler was laughing at her. Laughing at her. Like this, I want to point out, laughing at her, this has a sadistic quality now. I'll keep going. Following this incident, Ellis reported she had a handprint and injury on her neck, end quote. The affidavit went on to say, quote, in addition to these specific occasions, LS reported that Jessie Butler would regularly slap her legs or squeeze her legs very hard. She reported it would hurt and that it resulted in a lot of bruises on her legs from Butler. LS had taken a few photographs of the bruises on her legs and on her neck with her phone. However, Butler regularly went through her phone, so she was afraid to document them in that manner. So that's controlling too. This is someone that is going through her phone. So a place where you would often document something, take photos. He was going through her phone, so she was afraid to document them. That's controlling. And following the forensic interview, LS was seen by Brandy Watts, sexual assault nurse examiner at the Seville Center. And during the examination, LS provided Watts with a similar account of the incidents detailed in the forensic interview. She also reported to Watts that she had urinated on herself when Butler strangled her. Since the incident, LS has experienced times of substantial swelling, as observed by Watts through photographs provided by LS's parent, and discomfort in her neck, which she may not have experienced absent to the strangulation. Through her examination, Watts found that LS had been a victim of sexual and abuse. In the incidents involving LS, Jessie Butler demonstrated escalating physical and sexual violence as their relationship progressed over the term of approximately 2 months. Additionally, the Stillwater Police Department took another report of incidents reported by a second female juvenile in which Jessie Butler utilized threat, fear, intimidation, and physical force to make her perform sexual acts and participate in intercourse with him. This relationship began after LS and Butler ended their dating relationship in March 2024. And in that investigation, Butler employed similar strategies to elicit cooperation from that victim, including strangling her until unconsciousness for refusing to have sexual intercourse with him, end quote. So once again, it's strangulation until unconscious. And why? What is the motive? What is the reason? Their refusal to participate in sexual acts. Now, multiple girls stating this. And over the following months, LS and her family complied fully with investigators, surrendering her phone, which contained alarming evidence, photos, videos, and texts documenting the abuse. All of that was turned over to the district attorney's office. And then Assistant DA Deborah Vincent commented on LS's case saying, quote, how scary this young man was. I believe he would not stop unless he was held accountable, end quote. Despite this, despite LS's experience, at school, it remained traumatic. Why? Well, Jessie still attended classes, shared hallways, and even came to extracurricular events where LS was present. He would follow her parking spot, move near her in the stands, and constantly confront her, all while an active emergency protective order was in place. So in other words, you have an emergency protective order in place. And what is happening? He's showing up at the activities she's going to. He's standing close to her, moving near her, constantly confronting her, all while an active emergency protective order is in place. The second publicly known victim is KS. Her mother describes Jessie as initially perfect. Said, quote, he was wonderful. He was so nice. He brought her flowers, brought her her favorite tea. He took her to the country club, golfing, to play pickleball. He went to church with us, end quote. Over time, KS began withdrawing and seemed like she no longer wanted to spend time with Jesse. Months later, after talking to LS, the girls decided to report the assaults, including an incident where Jesse strangled KS until she passed out and recorded it on his phone. So now, now there's physical evidence. The abuse was violent, repeated, and manipulative. A detective ultimately told KS's parents that Butler, their daughter. So that was a detective telling KS's parents, this is what happened. KS was also forensically interviewed. The affidavit reads, quote, during a forensic interview on September 25th, 2024, KS detailed the first incident of physical abuse by Jesse Butler. This occurred on April 22nd, 2024 at Sonic in Stillwater. On this occasion, Jesse Butler reportedly attempted to pull her pants down and touch her as they sat on the bed of his pickup truck at the drive-in restaurant. She told Butler no, but he continued to grab and slapped her buttocks, and touched her breast. Butler became angry, grabbed her arm, spun her around, threw her on the ground. This action left scratches on her arm, which Butler then, what did he do? Laughed about it. So there we go again, being physically violent with her, throwing her on the ground, it leaving physical marks, scratches. What did Butler do? Laughed about it. I mean, I don't know about you guys, but the laughing after hurting someone physically, he makes the other victim bleed, laughs. Now he's thrown this victim on the ground, has left marks, and he's laughing about it. What is this about? This incident demonstrated to KS that Butler would use physical force on her if she did not comply with his sexual demands. KS reported she engaged in sexual intercourse with Jesse Butler throughout the term of their relationship and did so, why? To prevent physical aggression from him. So she was coerced to do this because of threats. And when KS told Butler he was hurting her, he did not care and would not stop. So again, I'm just wondering, and Dr. John Matthias, my co-host, is going to weigh in on this, a criminal psychologist, because I have so many questions. But this when the girls are being hurt and he doesn't care, he laughs. I have questions. I'll continue. And because of his aggressiveness, she was scared to tell him to stop. She expressed she was scared not to do what he wanted because of how physically violent he had been with her. KS reported Butler had left bruises on her hips from squeezing her so tightly. KS reported that the intercourse was extremely aggressive, but she reported that she quickly stopped fighting it because Butler would overpower her and hurt her to get his way. KS explained that she learned to do and not to do to avoid being hurt by Butler. And according to KS, Butler would pin her down and she was physically unable to get him off of her. KS stated that this would often lead her to hyperventilate, which Butler thought, again, was funny. So when these girls are afraid, when they are fearful and they hyperventilate, what does he do? He laughs at them. He thinks it's funny. KS described an occasion in July 2024 in which she house sat for a family friend. The dates that she stayed at the residence were July 27th, 2024 through August 3rd, 2024. And while she was there, Butler came to the house. Butler expressed a desire to have sexual intercourse with her at the house. KS reported she did not want to do anything at the house. Butler, he became angry and he came up behind her, put his arm around her neck, and strangled her to unconsciousness. So again, another pattern I want to point out. When she refuses to do a sexual act with him, not only is he threatening these girls, he is actually following through with the threats, physically harming them. At this moment, he strangles her to unconsciousness. She could not breathe. She scratched at his arms and tried to get away, but could not free herself. KS woke up on the floor of the living room after losing consciousness. KS reported there were red marks across her neck after Butler strangled her. Approximately 15 minutes after strangling her, Butler, what did he do? He then initiated sexual intercourse with her. So she refused. He strangles her to unconsciousness, which is a threat to her life. After she regains consciousness, he then is saying, okay, now you're going to do what I say. I mean, I know I keep stopping, but like, this is so violent, according to the affidavit, and so threatening and so coercive. And these are girls. I'll continue. So he initiates intercourse with her. Butler had sexual intercourse that night 3 or 4 times on this date. So in the house, she didn't want to do anything. After he then says 3 or 4 times this is going to happen. KS complied out of fear that he would strangle her again or hurt her. Makes sense. And KS reported that Butler strangled her on a second occasion during that same week. She complied with him out of fear of him. KS stated Butler told her he wanted to strangle her so he could film it on his phone. Butler got on top of KS to watch her pass out. He set up his phone to record it so he could watch it later. And what happened? KS lost consciousness on this occasion as well. And during this investigation, I obtained a search warrant for the cellular device belonging to Jessie Butler. The cell phone was downloaded to review the contents of the phone. I located a video with a date and timestamp of 8/1/2024 at 20:28 hours, in which Jessie Butler can be seen strangling KS until unconsciousness. This was the time frame that KS reported this occurred, and it appeared to have occurred in the manner that she reported, end quote. So in other words, she's telling the truth. And not only is this he said, she said, it's not. There is film of Jessie Butler strangling the victim until unconscious. The affidavit continues, quote, according to KS, Butler often gave her hickeys and bit her breasts, which both left marks. KS provided a photograph of her hickey during the investigation. The hickey appeared to be on the left side of her neck. It was red and purple in color. KS reported that Butler gave her the hickey during the week she house sat. KS reported that Butler wanted to have sexual intercourse every day. She described feeling coerced to comply to avoid being hurt. In addition to the sexual intercourse, KS reported that Butler forced her to perform oral sex. He forcefully grabbed her head and pushed her down. He forcefully moved her head up and down in a way that she had no control over her own head. KS stated that because of his violent aggression toward her, she did not attempt to fight him. KS did not provide specific dates or locations for these occasions. As she stated, it was a frequent and regular occurrence throughout their 6-month relationship from March to September 2024. In addition to the forced sex, KS reported that Butler also aggressively digitally penetrated her. And in one specific occasion, she reported was after golfing at the Stillwater Country Club that she reported Butler fingered her so aggressively, it again caused her to bleed. KS stated, quote, no matter what I told him, it did not change his mind. She described holding her skirt, trying to prevent him from accessing her. Butler forcefully pulled her skirt down and assaulted her. KS described Butler as jamming his fingers so much so that she began to bleed, which Butler saw and verbally shamed her for her injury. So now we know that he laughs when his victims are injured or shames them for the injury as she bleeds. KS stated this incident occurred in the Walmart parking lot in August of 2024. She reported there were multiple other occasions when Butler hurt her to the point that she bled. Multiple occasions during these acts where he hurt her so badly she bled. On January 17th, Detective Rachel Bruce, who wrote the probable cause and investigated the case, requested that the judge sign a warrant for the following charges for what happened to LS. Number 1, domestic assault and battery. 2, domestic abuse by strangulation. 3, sexual battery. 4, rape by instrumentation. 5, sodomy. 6, attempted first degree. 7, kidnapping. For KS, Detective Bruce requested an arrest warrant on February 4th, 2025 for the charges of domestic assault and battery by strangulation. Number 2, domestic assault and battery. 3, sexual battery. 4, rape by instrumentation. 5, sodomy. The arrest warrants were signed by a judge on March 4th, 2025, a month after the second one was submitted. Jesse was ultimately charged as an adult with 10 felony counts, including attempted first-degree rape by instrumentation, sexual battery, forcible oral sodomy, domestic assault and battery by strangulation, violation of protective orders. The assaults were graphic and brutal. LS required neck surgery after being strangled, with her doctor warning that just 30 more seconds could have killed her. KS's assaults were similarly severe, including being strangled to unconsciousness and recorded during this assault. When Jesse's arrest footage was released, the public reaction was immediate. Many expressed outrage over how police handled the situation. He was treated gently. Officers spoke to his mother first, and he was approached with care, despite being a violent offender. Compounding the anger in the arrest video, Jesse's mother told him to, quote, say your prayers, and insinuated to the officers that there was more to the story, almost suggesting the girls were lying. I'd say that is suggesting the girls were lying.
We're ready to obviously tell our story too.
Yeah.
Jess, it's Mom. Open the door. It's me.
And if you'll just have him step out.
Okay. Give me your wallet and phone and stuff. So, okay. Your what?
They're in the car.
Well, okay, it's fine. It's not locked or anything, is it? Okay. So, can you tell him what you just told me, or?
Yeah, so we're here. We're obviously going to place you under arrest. There's a warrant for your arrest. We're going to take you to the jail. I told your mom that she can contact a bondsman, and you shouldn't be there very long, but there just is a process for paperwork and stuff. But right now you do have to come with us, and I do have to put you in handcuffs. So turn around for me.
You have to put him in handcuffs?
I
Warrant for arrest anytime we transport somebody and take them into custody.
You know we're going to win this. It's okay.
Yeah.
I'll get you out. For me? All right. Stay silent. Rick knows about this. Candy's on this. Dad's on his way. We're coming to get you, okay? Stay strong, okay? Say your prayers.
Okay, so we will. He's going to go right to the city of Stillwater jail, and if you'll just contact her, then she does
knows
this all the
what to
time.
do.
She knows what to do.
Yep.
Make sure
Okay.
she knows Stillwater Police Department, not county.
Stillwater Police Department.
We're the ones
On
that-
Lewis.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Let them know that
perfect.
we're the ones that picked him up.
And
they
when
don't-
you say we are the ones.
Stillwater PD.
Stillwater PD.
Yeah.
Okay.
That way they don't think he went like straight over and he's over at the county.
Awful experience for a child.
Ready to go past there. Gonna pat you down and spread your feet for me. Nothing in your socks.
That's Jess. See you in a bit.
Initially, Jesse pleaded not guilty, but a series of controversial legal decisions followed. Assistant DA Deborah Vincent was ready to pursue maximum accountability, but ultimately a deal was struck to designate Jesse as a youthful offender. Special Judge Susan Worthington, with long-standing connections to the local athletic community, approved the status, despite the family's objection. He could be a youthful offender. And in August, Jesse entered a no contest plea to 11 charges, including the additional count for violating the protective order. Despite facing 78 years as an adult, he avoided prison time entirely. He avoided prison. His sentence included counseling and weekly check-ins, daily monitoring by the Office of Juvenile Affairs, 150 hours of community service, a curfew, and social media restrictions. This plan lasts until his 19th birthday, after which his record will be wiped clean, completely clean. The families and community were outraged. They are outraged. LS's powerful victim impact statement reads, and I'm going to read it here, quote, "I never imagined I'd be standing here needing to explain the harm someone did to me or trying to make people understand the damage that has been caused. You didn't just hurt me physically, you took pieces of my safety, my peace, and my sense of who I was. What you did wasn't just violence, it was betrayal, fear, shame, humiliation, and pain layered over and over. And it didn't stop when the assaults ended. It followed me every single day afterward. I've had to carry this weight while going to school, trying to act like I'm okay. I've woken up from nightmares that make me feel like I'm being attacked all over again. I've had to explain bruises, explain silence, explain why I started isolating from people who loved me. You didn't just strangle me with your hands. You strangled my voice, my joy, my ability to feel safe in my own body. And even now, months later, I still don't feel safe. Jesse didn't just abuse me, he threatened me over and over again. He told me that if I ever told anyone what he was doing, he would kill me. He would kill my family. He would kill himself. He even threatened to hurt or kill his own family. Do you know what it's like to live with that kind of fear at 18 years old? To walk into your house wondering if today's the day someone follows you home? To be afraid that opening your mouth could cost someone else's their life? Those threats silenced me just as much as his hands ever did. I was terrified. Every time I thought about telling someone, I heard his voice in my head reminding me that if I spoke up, he would be there to silence me, and I believed him. Because he had already shown me what he was capable of. I believed him. He showed me when he forced himself on me while laughing at my tears. He showed me when he put his hands around my neck and squeezed until I passed out in the Walmart parking lot. When I finally did get the courage to speak, I did so knowing I might be putting my family in danger. That's a decision no one should have to make, but I had to. I hope that one day you actually face what you've done, not just get punished, but really face it. Every time you ignored my no, every time you forced yourself on me, every time you laughed while I cried, I hope you understand how much it haunts me. You tried to make me feel powerless, but I'm taking that power back today. I will not let your violence define who I am. I'm a survivor, not your victim. You did not destroy me, even though you tried to. But I won't pretend I'm okay. I am still healing. I am still afraid. I still carry these memories in my body and my mind. And while I may learn to live with them, I will never forget what you did. I will never forget marble slab when you pinned me down, touched my body without permission while I begged you to stop. I screamed no over and over and you ignored it. I will never forget what it felt like when you pinned me inside your truck and said, "You're not going anywhere until I finish," like I was just something to be used. I will never forget the way you threatened me when your mother called. You made me lie. I wanted to scream for help and I couldn't because I didn't know what you would do next. I will never forget the Planet Fitness parking lot and the panic, the way I felt like my body didn't belong to me anymore. I will never forget the night you strangled me unconscious because I said no. That moment changed my life. A medical professional later told me that I was just 30 seconds away from dying. 30 seconds. If you had kept your hands on my neck just a little longer, I wouldn't be standing here today. That wasn't just a scare. It was a near-death experience. You didn't just hurt me, you nearly killed me. And because of that one act of violence, I had to have surgery on my neck. The damage you caused wasn't invisible and it wasn't temporary. The pain lingered for months. And now the scar is something that I'll carry for the rest of my life, a permanent reminder of what you did to me. To Jesse's parents, I don't know what you knew. I don't know if you heard me crying through the walls or noticed how your son treated me when no one was looking. But I hope you hear this now. Your son hurt me in ways that cannot be undone. And I need you to understand that your silence, your protection of him, or even your denial, that would hurt too. Because someone should have stopped this. Someone should have seen the bruises and the fear. This statement is not just for the court. It's for Jesse. It's for his family. It's so none of you can pretend that you didn't know what he did or how deeply he broke me. And for the people in this room who are deciding his punishment, I need you to remember that what happened to me wasn't only abuse or strangulation, it was nearly attempted murder. So I ask that you hold him accountable to the fullest. 30 more seconds, and this would not be my statement. It would be my mother's, because I would not have survived. I survived what he did, but I will never be the same. End quote. LS's mother also spoke publicly on social media about Jesse Butler and the systematic failures. She wrote on social media, quote, "Now that this has been shared overnight, I'm going to give my 2 cents. Actually, scratch that. I'm going to share a portion of my victim impact statement that was read in court. It says everything I need to say. To Jesse's parents, your silence has been deafening. You had every opportunity to lead with truth, to teach your son what it means to take ownership of harm. You had the chance to model responsibility, to support the healing process in even the smallest of ways. But you didn't. You chose to protect your family image over integrity. Your silence sent a message to my daughter that the truth didn't matter as much as appearances, that your son's reputation mattered more than her reality. That is not parenting. That is enabling." End quote. She also made a post sharing an article about trauma bonding, since there were many comments victim shaming her daughter. She wrote, quote, "Let's start this Friday off with some education. Recently, I had a lengthy conversation with someone who questioned things like, why would she go back if it was true? And why did she wait to report? Now that my blood pressure has returned to normal and the mama bear in me got a little sleep, let's address that publicly. Because according to this individual, these are common questions being asked. I get it. It's confusing, but let me be clear. Just because you don't understand something doesn't make it untrue. And the narrative you've created to fill in the gaps doesn't make it factual. Let's talk about trauma bonding. It's real. It's confusing. It's gut-wrenching. It's not two people bonding over chips and salsa talking about their rough lives. Trauma bonding is a deep psychological attachment formed with an abuser. It creates a cycle of control, dependence, and confusion that is extremely difficult to break. When this article was shared with me last year, I read it with wide eyes, followed by a lot of tears. I could check nearly every single box when looking at my daughter's story. It was like reading a manual for the parts of this journey the public doesn't see. I highly encourage everyone to educate themselves on this, especially if you're on a platform, quote, speaking the truth without knowing the fullest story. I'm posting because it seems no one else is willing to hold Jesse Butler accountable. SHS parents, I urge you to talk with your daughters. Over the last couple of weeks, my daughter has received multiple screenshots from SHS students showing that Jesse is messaging girls asking if they're single or if they want to hang out. I'm positive there are more than 4 to 5 that she has been shown these screenshots. This is not harmless. Jesse Butler is a sexual predator with a violent background. Parents, make sure your daughters and your families know who is contacting them, end quote. The details of Jesse's plea and sentence were devastating to the families. Again, no jail time, just community service, counseling, a curfew, and social media restrictions. Despite pleading no contest to 11 charges, including attempted rape by instrumentation, sexual battery, and domestic assault by strangulation, the punishment was minimal. Victims, advocates, and community members decried the outcome as influenced by privilege and connections, noting the influence of Jesse's father and the judge's long-standing ties to the local athletic community. While it hasn't been officially confirmed, some reports suggest there may be a third victim, someone who's been too afraid to come forward, particularly after seeing the leniency Jesse received in the first 2 extremely violent cases. In other words, there's now a chilling effect. Another victim that was possibly going to come forward now might be afraid to. The possibility of another survivor stepping forward has sparked some debate, though. If a new case were brought to trial, could it finally result in meaningful consequences, including actual jail time? I don't know. Community members and advocates are also calling for accountability beyond Jesse himself. Many questioned the role of the judge, the prosecutors, and others involved in securing such a light sentence, arguing that this decision not only failed the victims, but also sets a troubling precedent, especially for violent crimes committed by minors in high school who had family influence or status. Online, the public outrage has been palpable. A Facebook group and multiple petitions have emerged, giving voice to victims, sharing their frustration with the system that appears to prioritize privilege over justice. Supporters are demanding that Jesse be held fully accountable in the way that truly protects and respects survivors, sending a clear message that violent crimes will not be excused because of age, family name, or social status. Regardless, this case is a stark reminder of how systems meant to protect can fail. Two brave young women endured abuse, fear, threats, and yet the outcome sends a dangerous message that influence, status, and connections can outweigh the severity of violent crimes. As a community, the focus must remain on supporting victims and ensuring they are heard, believed, and protected. And cases like Jesse Mack Butler, they reveal the gaps in accountability, and the work to close them is far from over. Dr. John Matthias is going over the affidavits and the evidence. In our next episode, we will be sharing what Dr. John Matthias, a criminal and clinical psychologist, sees when looking at the punishment of Jesse Mack Butler, as well as what we're seeing as far as accountability goes.